The following podcast is for mature listeners. Although looked at in a light-hearted manner, some content may be graphic and gruesome. Also, due to the host's complete lack of maturity, those easily offended will probably be offended. Hold on to your butts.
We have more important things to talk about for sure. Jake, I wanted, before we got into today's topic, I wanted to tell you about a little news story I saw on the internet.
Okay. What did you find out on the old interwebs?
Let me lay this out for you. So there is this. I don't know how to say it. I don't know if I say these people or this person. They're Siamese twins. He's a Siamese twin. There are two Siamese twins. Well, there's one Siamese twin. There's only one of the Siamese twins.
One body, but it's two people.
One soul, two minds. Yes.
I think they need to be referred to as they because there's two consciousnesses. Correct.
Right.
So they would probably be the correct terminology.
So they have two heads, two consciousnesses.
Yes.
They're two individual people.
Dudes? We're talking two dudes?
Two dudes. They are, I don't know, 50s maybe.
Really?
Later middle age. They are connected at, looks like the abdomen somewhere. So they have they each have two arms, but then they share like a gastrointestinal tract and
they share a dick.
And that's what I wanted to get to because the one is taking the other one to court, Jake.
Over what? Did he get Me Too'd by himself?
Yes.
No.
He is claiming that the other him has been sexually assaulting him against his will by masturbating when he does not want to be masturbated. What do you think? Where do you
like how do you like if I'm a lawyer, how do you approach that in such a manner and you don't laugh?
How? Right. Okay.
So you're telling me
first of all, you're on the jury
that you
right?
jerked yourself off.
Yes.
Against your own will.
And now, Jake, let's pretend for a minute that we have the same dick. Right?
You're welcome.
Okay.
That's the first thing I'm going to say.
Yep. It's the big red machine.
That's right.
And let's say that you just want to fucking read a book, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to read the latest Nicholas Sparks book.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, just got done watching Abducted in Plain Sight, and I'm feeling a little randy.
You're ready to crank one out.
Yeah.
So you want me, essentially, to Broberg you. You want me to help you relieve yourself. But you're gonna.
Well, listen. Here's the deal. I'm gonna Broberg myself, and it just happens to be that you're getting secondhand Broberged.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Ain't nothing worse than getting a secondhand Broberg.
Yeah, right. It's a secondhand job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a hand-me-down job.
I think it has to be awkward, dude. Like, put yourself in this situation. What is there like a curtain involved? Do you put a towel over the other guy's head?
They have to have some sort of code term. I'm gonna go shake hands or something like that. They have to have some sort of terminology to let the other one know I need release. I need to work
here's the problem is, even if you're like, all right, listen, I'm gonna go, drain the old
milk snake.
What? I'm gonna go drain the old milk snake, right? That's the code word.
Yeah.
It's not like the other brother can just close his eyes and look away.
He feels it the whole time. Do you?
Yeah.
All right. Here's a totally off-topic question. Do you think?
Okay.
What are their names?
Oh, man, they have to rhyme. I assume they rhyme.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this.
But anyhow, I feel like blokes. The one... What if the one just sits there and critiques the other one?
You're going too fast. I'm never going to finish like this.
You're just... What are you doing, man? You got to work the shaft a little bit more. You got to be a little bit nicer to the, to the old ball bag. You're beating that thing up like it's, a Vander Holyfield.
Yeah, but, like, wouldn't he also... Do you think they like it different ways?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's critiquing...
They can't like it different ways, because it's the same thing. Like, he can't be like...
Different minds, though, Paul. Different minds.
Yeah. But he's still gonna... It's different minds, but they're still gonna finish the same time. Like, it's not like, hey, I like it really fast, or I like it really slow. Like, you can't have two different things you like, because it's the same climax. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. Like, you're both working towards the same ultimate goal here, but, like, Robert Frost, man, road less traveled. Like, some people, like, go in different ways. Some dudes like getting a finger in the ass. Like, who knows?
But it's the same ass.
I get it. It's the same ass, but, like, it's like two different bodies, but you're sharing an abdomen and a dick.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Jake, is, like, if let's say the one brother is like, listen, you have to stop putting your finger in our ass. I don't like that. The other brother's just going to be like, I know you fucking like it, because every time I do it, you come.
Yeah. Like, you literally, it's like a volcanic eruption.
So who are you? Are you trying to fucking play me here? Okay, it's Alfred and Wilbert Peterson. Oh. They're from Michigan.
Of course they're from Michigan.
I have some quotes. Here we go. Quote, he keeps playing with our penis without my consent. That's legally a sexual assault. Hold on, wait. Here we go.
These are grown-ass dudes. He keeps playing with our penis without...
They're 54 years old. Here's this one. Okay, quote, right? Alfred said... Well, first of all, let me just fill you in. Alfred is the one who... He's the prude, right? He's not into this. And Alfred says that he's suffering from insomnia and post-traumatic stress syndrome because of these situations.
How much is the other dude jerking his dick off, then?
I guess
if, like,
a lot.
If he can't sleep and he's got PTSD, like, my man must be like
hold on, Jake. Please, hold on. Wait a second, Jake. Please, you have to hear this. Quote. This is a quote from Alfred Peterson. Quote, I don't want to sleep at night because I'm afraid he's going to touch me.
I'm fucking dead.
Wilbert claims he's doing nothing wrong and insists that it's his legal right to masturbate. Well, and he's not wrong.
Two things.
Yeah.
The fact that these guys are, one, it sucks that they're conjoined. But, like, the fact that they're in their 50s and apparently one of their
This has been going on for a long time.
Well, apparently the one's got the libido of two men, literally.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
But, like, you would think that since they're conjoined, that, like, after, I guess they should just be lucky that everything still works.
Yeah, right. Look on the bright side.
It's not just like a goddamn skin ornament.
Listen, Alfred.
Yeah, quit being such a bitch.
Things could be a whole lot worse for you. All right, let's move on. This is not
a question, though, before you continue. Okay. Do you think that one of them are homosexual?
Well, he's jerking a dude off all the time.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, your only sexual contact is another dude jerking you off.
And he's into incest.
And he's into... Oh, my God. Like, there's a lot of different issues.
This guy's a freak. Now, I wonder if are there laws against incest? Because...
Yeah.
Man, this could have been a whole episode on its own. Listen, just to let you know at the moment, the Michigan state law does not include any guidelines for individuals sharing the same penis. Actually, the only state to have laws concerning the sexuality of conjoined twins is the state of California, which passed a bill in 2011. I don't know what is contained in that bill.
Of them.
I'm curious. Maybe it's some type of timeshare situation, but...
You get the dick Sunday through Thursday. Weekend, Friday and Saturday, though, that penis is mine.
What if one of them's like a deadbeat and only gets him every other weekend? Has to take it out to McDonald's to make it up to him.
Dad.
All right. Let's see. What are we actually here to talk about?
Yeah, we're here to talk about something really fucking weird, to be honest, as I was reading up on it.
Yeah. Weirder than what we just talked about?
Honestly, yeah. It is a little
It's a little bit.
A little bit weirder, but like in the spooky sense, not in the creepy Siamese penis touching sense.
I don't think you can call them Siamese anymore. I did earlier, but I'm going to reprimand you anyway.
All right.
You're not supposed to do it. Conjoined. Or Oriental.
Conjoined. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't want to be prejudiced against any type of conjoined twins. Anywho, we're talking about the Dyatlov Pass here. If I say that correct?
I think, who knows? It's Russian.
Precursor,
Dyatlov.
Precursor
I think it's
to the rest of
Dyatlov.
this episode. These names will be butchered. If you're Russian, sorry, bro. Get over it.
Yeah, if you're Russian, dude, slow down.
Yeah.
There's no need for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's like, this involves like 9 people, and 16 of these people are named Yuri. You know what I mean? Like, it's absurd.
It's going to get confusing.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. Okay, so in 1959, in the northern Ural Mountains of Sverdlovsk, see, it's happening already.
Yep.
In the Soviet Union, in the mountains, in the
town. Yeah.
Yes, in the Soviet Union in 1959, a group of experienced outdoorsmen were planning to ski cross country through the mountains.
Yes.
Right?
Now, I guess I'm kind of like jumping here, but like this group of people,
Jump away, dude.
like they're in their early 20s.
Yeah.
Like this is some real fucking white people shit here. Like,
Oh, dude, for sure.
like they're doing
For
like
sure.
extreme camping.
These motherfuckers, right? Did you see why they were doing this?
I didn't see why.
They were doing this because they were grade 2 hikers and they wanted to become grade 3 hikers.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Which hold on, listen, at the time, grade 3 was the highest grade you could earn as a hiker in the Soviet Union. So,
Is it like, do you get like a pendant, like a pat? Is it like a wilderness badge? Like, do you get some sort of award? No, you get nothing.
You just there's no benefit at all, as far as I could tell, to having your grade 3 hiking
you
badge.
know what? In our country, compared to Russia, things are looked at completely different. Like,
Yeah, that's true. Especially in 1959. I mean, hiking.
Yeah.
Maybe you got like a discount at Denny's or something.
they don't have Denny's. It's like, I would have. This
Whatever
was
they-
also during
the Cold
War era, correct?
The Cold War.
Yeah.
Yes, probably. So to get your grade 3 hiking grade, it required that you travel 190 miles hike for 190 miles. That's a lot of miles to hike.
Yeah, man. I don't even want to walk down the street, let alone hike. Fucking 190 miles. Man, my legs would be so tired. I'd have so many bananas to prevent cramping.
Yeah. And so did Igor Dyatlov, who, curiously enough, this pass is named after, which isn't usually. It's usually either a really good thing or it's
Pretty bad
not
thing.
something
And
that you
this-
want. You don't want passes named after you.
No.
Dyatlov was a 23-year-old engineering student who loved to hike, and he had gathered 9 of his close friends, and they formed this team of wilderness explorers, right?
Yeah.
So the team consisted of Igor, as well as, here we go. This should be fun. Ludmila. I'm not going to do the last names.
Yeah,
okay, I'm just going to say
don't, because you're embarrassed.
it's going to be bad. Ludmila, Alexander, Zinaida, Rustam, Nikolai, Semyon.
Nikolai Volkov. I know that guy.
Right, Yuri, and Yuri. That's not a joke. There are 3
that's
Yuris
actual
in the
truth,
group.
yeah.
3 Yuris and an Igor. That's the old Russian hat trick. So, the group was 8 men and 2 women. The the women were, I'm going to try to decipher it from this list. Ludmila was one of the women, and
Zdania or Zenata.
Yeah, she went by the name Xena. So
warrior.
That
princess.
makes it easier.
Oh,
yeah, the warrior princess.
Sense, then.
Yeah, so all of them were grade 2 hikers. All of them wanted to get this grade 3 certificate. So
God, they must have led the most boring fucking lives.
until this. On the morning of January 25th, 1959, they all arrived in this little mountain town called Vizhai.
It's actually just
I think
called
it's Vizhai.
It's just named after bees. It's named after bees.
Named by bees.
By bees, yes.
Yeah, right. So they arrived at this little mountain town, and this mountain town is the northernmost village in the area where they were hiking, and it was the last inhabited area before reaching the Ural Mountains, which is they were hiking through the Ural Mountains. So they stayed at this place for I think 2 nights before they began their big hike, which was January 27th. That's when they
started to make their ascent.
Yes. So the hike was from this little mountain town through the Ural Mountains towards, it was going to end at a place called Otorten, which was a town on the other side of the mountain.
I hate Russia.
They don't make it easy, do they?
No.
So they start the hike. They take off. The Ural Mountains
smells like piss.
Right. A couple miles in, one of the members, Yuri Yudin.
One of the Yuris goes down. My man's got a mild case of the BGs. He's got the shit.
Right. Well, his knees started hurting him.
That's what he said.
Right. He started feeling ill, and he decided he was not going to be able to make this venture. So he heads back to the little town. It turns out that he suffered from several health problems, including rheumatism and heart defects. So that sidelined him.
Basically, in science terms, that means he's a bitch.
He is a heart bitch.
He's a little ass bitch. Now, when I first read, I'm not sure what rheumatism is, but when I first heard rheumatism, I thought they meant rheumatoid arthritis.
Is that it?
No. Rheumatoid arthritis.
How do you know?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
You don't know anything.
I know some stuff.
Any disease marked by inflammation and pain in the joints, muscles,
there it is.
Fibrous
rheumatoid
tissues,
arthritis. So
especially rheumatoid arthritis.
Ha!
Yeah, you were right.
Smarter than the average, biatch.
You are that. So Yuri Yudin parts ways with the group, and the other 9 continue on their journey to their fucking doom. This is the last time
doom, man.
Yuri would see the group alive. This is the last time anyone, as far as we know, would see the group alive. So days go by, right? Everything's moving along perfectly. They take a journal. They have cameras. They're tracking the venture, right? They're recording everything along the way.
You got to remember, this is 1959, so there was no snapping a picture with your camera phone. There was no marking your location on a social media app. There was none of that stuff. It was just kind of like, hey, I put a stick in the ground to mark where I was at.
Well, and not only that, they are, even if there was that stuff, even today, I don't think this area has any kind of cell reception. This is the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
On February 1st, the group decides to set up camp. They come upon a mountain that's known by the locals as Dead Mountain.
Mountain of the Dead.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, so they spend most of the day hiking up Dead Mountain, and they decide come nightfall they're going to set up camp a short distance from the peak. And Jake, they set up camp at the peak of Dead Mountain.
Which, it sounds fucking badass. It sounds like something out of a Lord of the Rings book. You know what I mean?
Right. Really, it was called Dead Mountain because nothing lived there. They didn't hunt there because there was no life at all.
Let's talk about the fact that it was negative 30 degrees.
Yeah, let's keep that in mind because that comes into play later.
Yeah.
In a big way. So, like I said, they were keeping journals. The final journal entry read, "It's hard to imagine such a comfort on this ridge with a shrill howling wind and being hundreds of kilometers away from the closest human settlement." So,
that would have not. Sorry. So they were like, all right, this isn't the worst situation.
No, like, they're enjoying it.
Yeah, like they're having a good
finding.
time.
Yeah, they're in their element.
Let's see, in 1959, that's like, I'm having a good time. Now, if this were 2018, 2019, it would have been, yo, this shit's lit, fam. That's what it would have said in that journal.
Fuck, dude, 2018, 2019, it would have been like, fuck this. What are we doing
like,
on a mountain?
There's no music festival up here. I'm fucking out of here. Someone call me an Uber.
Fucking Nintendo Switch right now. Actually, if you have a Nintendo Switch, you could take it with you. Maybe they were playing. I mean, they weren't, but
who knows?
Yeah, you know. So weeks go by, right? No one's heard from the group. When they left, they had told some of their friends and family that they expected to be back in the first half of February. I think, actually, the leader, Igor, had mentioned to some people that they expected to be back February 12th. The problem is that these types of expeditions, as you may guess, they're not really... It's hard to predict how long it's going to take.
Yeah, there's
often,
no pinpoint accuracy.
Right. Often, they'll go a few days late. So nobody really got concerned when they didn't show up on February 12th. Nobody got concerned until February 20th. That's when people were like, hold on a second. Like, they should definitely
isn't there
be back.
A group of 9 people up there just dicking around in the snow?
Yeah, right. So they decide to send some search groups out to see if they can make contact with these people. And it's not until 6 days after that. So it's not until February 26th that they discover the campsite.
And that's where shit goes, and that's where shit goes south in a hurry.
Yeah. It was immediately apparent when they found the campsite that shit had hit the fan. The campsite, the tent, was destroyed.
But how was it destroyed, though?
That's the curious thing. It was cut open, but from the inside out. Exactly. So somebody in a panic had to cut their way out of this tent. Other than that, I mean, most things seemed to be in order. The group's belongings were all neatly arranged as if nothing were wrong.
Well, the whole thing with the tent that I found interesting is that it was torn apart with knife. It was slashed open from the inside out, while the front of the tent, the normal opening, was completely buttoned up.
Right.
So somebody lost their fucking mind.
Yes. Something bad happened. So that wasn't the only problem. The other problem was most of the belongings of the hikers were still at the camp. Most of their shoes, a lot of their jackets, clothes. So they took off in a hurry and they didn't take their shit. And it gets even weirder when we start to find the campers. So I think the first person they find is Igor. They find him a little bit of ways from the tent. And he is dead. Well,
yeah, that's a given.
Yeah. He I think with Igor, they found him. There wasn't really anything wrong with him. They assumed that he just died of hypothermia. But he wasn't wearing shoes, right?
Yeah.
Then they go a little bit further, and they find 2 other hikers who didn't have shoes on. Didn't have clothes on.
Yeah, they're just down to their underwear.
Yeah, they're in their underwear, and their feet are burned.
Maybe they were reliving some sort of precursor to Brokeback Mountain. They could have been just 2 dudes just touching Russian tips. They're some sort of docking scenario.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
It could be that.
And they just died in each other's arms. Who knows? Who am I to say? Who am I to stand in the way of true love? But now, what I thought about that was interesting because their feet were burned because there was remnants of a fire, and there was like a tree nearby that had flesh on it up to about 15 meters.
Yeah, and all the branches were broken on the tree.
Somebody was like, one of them was trying to climb this fucking tree. 15 meters climbing a tree? That's fucking high.
Yes, that is very high.
45 feet.
It appears as though they were trying to maybe figure out, like, get their bearings about them and figure out where they actually were.
Yes. But could you imagine, like, climbing a tree and, like, your skin's ripping off because all the branches and stuff are, like, ripping at you and whatnot? Ugh!
Oh, dude. Yeah, it would be terrible.
While you're freezing to death because you're in your underwear.
Yeah, it would not be good. Okay, so I got it wrong. Those two were the first two that they found.
Yeah.
They found those two. And then they found 3 more corpses, right? They found them
in like a
at different
ravine.
distances
Yeah.
from the trees where these guys were. So we should say that normally when you would set up a camp like this, you would do it near trees. You would do it near woods. It usually provides better
Coverage?
like, yeah. And they passed these trees to get to where they were. So that was one of the things that was confusing to people, is why would they set up, like, they set up in like an open plain on this mountain rather than by the trees. So people were confused by that. I think that Yuri, the one that got sick and stayed back, he said that he wouldn't be surprised if Igor had suggested maybe they try and set up in like a harder place just to test themselves.
Devil may care.
Yeah. So when whatever happened, it seems like they all took off towards the trees. They knew that the woods were nearby, and that's where they took off towards. So they find the 2 in their underwear at the tree line. Then between the tree line and the campsite, they find 3 more bodies, one 300 feet from the trees, one 480 feet from the trees, and meters, one 630 meters from the trees. So, all in separate areas, but none of them had a complete set of shoes. Like, some were wearing no shoes, some were wearing one shoe. Most of them didn't have their jackets.
One guy had
they're
2
not
hats
prepared for this. Is that true?
Yeah, one guy had 2 hats on but no shoes.
They probably took the hats. They probably took the clothes from the fucking guys that died by the fire. They didn't find the other 4 hikers for another 2 months. And when they did find them, it was 75 meters into the woods from where the other 2 were found. They were, again, not wearing the right clothes. But they did have more clothing than any of the other hikers that they found. When they found them, they were buried in snow.
Yeah, they were just in like a ravine, correct?
Yeah, one girl was missing her tongue and her eyes.
Fuck.
And when they did the autopsies, it was found that they were killed by like a blunt force trauma that was not a human being would not have been able to administer. They said like
it was comparable or comparable to that of like a car crash.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's interesting is that
it was like internal injuries.
Yes, but what's interesting is that there was no like not exit wounds, but like external wounds, I should say.
No, right? Yeah, it was
there's
like
no like markings of them getting crushed by something.
Yeah, exactly.
What this reminds me of, there is a movie on Netflix called The Ritual. It is very similar to this. It's like a group of guys that are camping out in the woods. It's like not a foreign film, but like, actually I think it is a foreign film.
Well, I think they made a horror movie based on this. I didn't see it, but I had noticed it when I was doing my research, called The Devil's Pass.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to look into that and see if I can find out more about it.
Yeah, but the ritual's very similar to this too. It's like a group of guys that go out camping, and then, there's like this Nordic elk demon that like kills people one by one and something like that.
So what was it was a Nordic elk demon?
Yeah, something like that. It's like this forest god that like kind of like picks people off, and if you look at it, it's a wrap for you. But
okay. Well, being as you brought this up, let's talk about the theories as to what happened here. Number one, and the most believed theory, is that it was a Noric demon god.
Obviously, I mean,
if you look at it, it's a wrap.
Well, what's interesting is that there's no tracks. The only tracks that were by the campsite were that of the people that were in the party. There's no other,
and they were barefoot foot
and
tracks.
They're all barefoot. There's no tracks of other people. There's no tracks of any type of like a bear or anything like that, because that would make sense. Like a bear comes and like terrorizes a campsite, and that would explain why a guy was trying to climb a tree. But again, there's also
at the same time, it wouldn't make sense because this area is not known to have bears or wolves or any kind of like. That's why it's called Dead Mountain, because nothing lives there. There's no life on these mountains.
But also, what's interesting about all of this, before we get into theories, all of their clothes had a higher than normal amount of radiation on them.
Okay, let's talk about that. So, it wasn't all of their clothes. It was
a handful of them.
There were 3 articles of clothing. I mean, all of them may have had some radiation on it, but I know in this area, it was close to a nuclear, like maybe not nuclear, but like government weapons testing site. So people speculate that there could have been, just from these tests, nuclear or radioactive particles in the air that could have like fallen down onto the clothing. But there were 3 articles of clothing that wouldn't. I mean, like they were way over the accepted amount of radiation for clothing.
Would it be safe to say that there could have been some sort of Hadron Collider situation?
Ooh, let's talk about the Hadron Collider.
Actually,
let's
not.
No, but here's the thing that I did find. It wasn't in. I think I saw it in a YouTube video. This guy had talked about it. It was actually it kind of debunked the radioactive thing, which I thought was one of the weirdest. Like, hold on a second, what the fuck's going on here? So, the 3 articles of clothing that they found that had this very high radiation on it.
Okay.
The 3 articles belonged to 2 of the hikers. One of the hikers worked part-time at a government plutonium factory.
Yeah.
And the other one worked for, I can't remember what it was, but it was like also a company that dealt with radioactive materials.
Okay.
So it could have been like they wore the shirt to work and maybe got some radioactive material on there.
Yeah, like that. That's what makes the most sense.
Yeah, so that could explain that. I'm not saying it does. It could be something else. I mean, here's the thing about this story and episodes like this. Like, there's no satisfying ending because nobody still to this day knows what the fuck's going on. It all comes down
to like a matter of opinion because there's no cold, hard facts about it. I mean, the fact that you have a group of 9 people, all dead, all scattered.
Right. I'm thinking Jason Voorhees. I mean, when I hear those numbers in this situation.
And I totally want to be on board with that, but the fact that there are no external wounds.
Right.
It's like,
that's true.
It's kind of like the bodies collapsed in on themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're like, there's no tracks of anything else, like of anyone else other than the people that were in that area. Like,
right.
It's very fucking weird, man.
It's very strange. One of the weirdest things, I think, is that the one girl was missing her eyes and her tongue.
Yeah.
That seems strange to me, and part of her lips. So here are the other theories.
How do you just lose your eyes and your fucking tongue? Like, how does that happen?
Here are the other theories. So one of the first theories was that there was an avalanche. They heard an avalanche coming because when they found the tent, it was kind of covered in snow. So it was believed that they heard an avalanche. They wanted to get out of the tent as fast as possible. They didn't have time to get their things. They hightailed it into the wilderness. And that would make sense. But one of the things that debunked this was if there were an avalanche, you wouldn't have seen all the footprints. And like you said, there were footprints. You could see their footprints fleeing from the tent. So the snow on the tent, they believe it was just like a couple days worth of snow drifts from the tent sitting there. Then there was the radiation theory that they had possibly been killed by some sort of interaction with radioactive material. Again, the fact that not all of their clothing had any radioactivity debunks that. But what the radiation does lend itself to is the possibility that this was a secret government project that maybe they had stumbled upon. And there's other things that back that up too. So I don't know if you know this, but when the investigation started, the Russian government sent Russian agents, like government agents, to oversee the investigation. Like they also they put pressure on the police to wrap the investigation up as fast as possible, which is why like a lot of this shit
trying to cover it up
like a lot of this shit just doesn't make sense. Like the actual report says the people that died of the internal injuries, the official cause of death was how do they
spontaneous force or some shit like that.
It was a unresistible force of nature.
What is this? A John Madden quote? The irresistible force met the immovable object.
Yeah, like it's like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, how is that the official cause of death? What the fuck are you talking about?
So you're trying to tell me that these people died through telekinesis? Just fucking say it, man.
Well, the other crazy thing is after this happened, they closed this area down. The government closed this area down for 3 years and said it was due to safety concerns.
There's something going on, man.
Like this area was like patrolled by military for 3 years after the incident.
They probably had
because
some sort
of safety
of weird
concerns.
Biomechanical super weapon that they were engineering up there, and they just let it run loose on this group of people, and it murdered them.
Yeah, this was Mechagodzilla.
Don't fuck around with Mechagodzilla, man.
So here's a crazy theory, right? I have one more here.
All right, what do you got?
Did you hear the infrasound theory?
Like infra, like infrared?
Yeah, like infrasound theory.
No.
So there's a theory that there is a particular tone that kind of makes people go crazy. It causes panic attacks. It causes hysteria. And people believe that there's a possibility that the wind, like howling through the mountains,
could have caused that sound,
that continuous tone. It's called Karman Vortex Street Effect, if you want to look into it. And yeah, it's this tone that makes people kind of go crazy.
The same tone
that would definitely explain it.
That TVs emit during Black Friday.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That would explain it, but also like it's kind of hard for me to believe that fucking 9 people all had the same reaction to a tone in the wind, because I don't know that this effect happens to everyone. I think it's like, select people it'll happen to.
I mean, because then you got to think about it, like the one girl could have ripped her tongue out and her eyes.
Yeah, like you're not going to go that crazy because the wind's howling a certain way.
Tried to climb up the tree to get away from it.
Right.
And like the other people could have just been trying to help them and just fucking froze to death.
Yeah, I mean, if they'd all gone crazy, then like crazy is like the ultimate defense, because it everything makes sense.
Yeah.
With crazy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's fucking
I
crazy.
think there's other fucking weird theories too. Like there's the tribesmen that live near here. People think that maybe they had something to do with it. Like there are these crazy Russian.
There's no tracks though. There's no way to like.
They weren't there exactly.
Exactly.
There's no
way to prove that anyone else was there other than this group. Well, didn't you just say that they just reopened this case? They're going back up there in March to kind of recreate everything, correct?
Yeah, the Russian government's going to look back into this, and hopefully we can get a more thorough investigation and some real answers. Jake, I have a theory, right?
I want to hear it, because there's a lot of bullshit that I'm hearing.
There's a lot of bullshit.
Facts.
I mean, this isn't necessarily my theory. This is one of the theories I've heard, and it's the one that makes the most sense. It's the most believable. So, one of the things that I found out was Igor, the leader, right? He had he built a fucking oven that could go inside of the tent and had like an exhaust pipe that went out of the tent so they could keep the tent heated. They could cook inside the tent.
Okay.
There's a picture that was taken the day before all this shit went down. And it's a picture of one of the hikers, and he's wearing a jacket, and the jacket is burnt to shit. Something happened to this jacket. It caught on fire. It's fucking ruined. He's like wearing it as a gag, and they took a picture of it.
Okay.
I think what happened is they put the fire out, right? Or the fire went out, or a spark got out of the fire. It lit something on fire in the tent. And before these people could even figure out what the fuck was going on, the tent had filled with smoke. Which is why they would have to cut themselves out of the tent.
Okay.
Right? They run off into the woods trying to get away from this fire. They're not wearing shoes because, it's fucking panic time.
Yeah. Fight or flight. I get it.
They get to the woods. The leader and these two other people decide they're going to head back to the tent to see what was left of it. Two of the hikers say, fuck that. We're naked. We're going to try and start a fire down here, which is what happened.
We're going to start a fire using the heat off of our genitals.
Yeah, right. Also, this theory explains the burned feet of the people.
Yes.
I mean, and then I think the other four went into the woods to see if they could find a shelter, like a cave or something to hide out in. And I think while they were there, they maybe set off like a mini avalanche that knocked them into this ravine because the ravine was actually 3 meters deep.
Oh, okay, it's 9 feet. Okay.
Which is enough if you get knocked into it, that it could cause these internal injuries where you would die.
Well, then, how do you explain the eyes and the tongue?
Okay, here's the thing with the eyes and the tongue. In the medical reports, the girl who was missing her eyes and her tongue was found laying face down in flowing water. There was flowing water
the corrosion
under the snow, like from the ravine.
Yeah.
And they said that she was found face down in this running water. And it's possible that because the water was running, it could have just,
eroded,
worn away.
Yeah.
At the
the water would just erode everything that's soft tissue.
The other thing that backs this up is that multiple hikers were found with blood in their mouths and on their lips, and smoke inhalation causes people to cough up blood.
Man, this makes too much goddamn sense.
Yeah, it's kind of it does make a lot of sense. It's the one thing that kind of made sense out of all the things I saw. That's why I'm kind of sticking by that. I think that's probably the most realistic. I hope it was fucking aliens,
supervillain that was just shooting radiation poisoning out of his eyes, and
that's what I wanted. I
wanted some sort of like weird government conspiracy weapon thing that was killing people.
Yeah. Well, here's the good news. They're reopening the investigation. There were a lot of UFO sightings in the area. We could keep our fingers crossed.
There was reports about people seeing like orbs of light.
Let's just hope that they find out it was fucking aliens. You know what I mean? That's what I really want.
Let a motherfucker find out it was aliens.
You know what I mean? Or Sasquatch. You know what I mean? This seems like a Sasquatch situation. You could definitely do this.
I could get down with some Sasquatch.
For sure.
He's always in those Jack Link's commercials. I think they're just very hilarious.
They are funny. That's not the real Sasquatch, though. You know that, right? It's just like a dude in a costume.
What?
They haven't found the real Sasquatch. Should we do a Sasquatch episode?
I think we should do a Sasquatch episode.
Put it on the list.
First and foremost, I talked to you about this off air.
Yeah.
While I was gathering some information to find out more about Dyatlov's Pass.
Yeah. Can I cut you off?
Yeah.
Before you even start, like, they don't listen, right?
I don't fucking care, Paul.
You know they're never going to hear this. You know that barely anyone hears this.
Enough people hear it to know.
Okay, keep going. Maybe the word can be spread.
So the two schlubs that do the Stuff You Should Know podcast
I enjoy the Stuff You Should Know podcast. I'm staying out of this. I like
this, and it was without a doubt the most boring podcast I've ever listened to. I don't know.
They stick to the facts. These
so
guys.
What? It's like listening to two librarians talk about how they file books away. It was the most boring, mundane shit I've ever heard in my entire life. I got more out of reading an article online than I did hearing these two physical embodiment of queeps talk about Dyatlov Pass.
Listen,
Okay?
Chuck, if you do listen to this, which I know there's no way,
are sponsored.
These are not my fucking views.
Job. So if they ever want to square up, you can come find me. Because I'll stomp.
You're challenging them to a fight for being boring? Oh, when you said send them a challenge, I thought you meant like a podcast challenge.
Fucking losers.
You're talking about stone cold stunning these people.
Yeah, I will.
I'll meet them in the wrestling ring. I'll meet them in the wrestling ring.
Shotgun 2 beers on top of their unconscious bodies, and then I'm going to roll out.
All right, I like that. I like the swagger you put on it. I like the attitude.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you something, man. People listen to podcasts to be entertained.
Yeah,
that is the purpose. That is why we are here right now. We have people that we like to entertain outside
why nobody's listening.
But when I have to listen to like a piano intro and it's like sounds like they're listening to some fucking soft jazz in the background while they're talking about people that just never returned from this fucking camping trip, that's fucking lame. I want to be entertained. I want to be wowed. I want to be
entertained.
I demand entertainment when I hear another podcast. So they've been officially put on notice.
Put on blast by Jake, not by Paul. Paul enjoys the podcast very much. It's one of my favorites. I want to issue a challenge here. Listen, all that stuff about nobody listening and nobody cares about our pod. That's not true. We know that you listen. I can see that you listen, right? I know you're fucking there. I know you're listening right now. We say it every week, right? And I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I know when I hear it, I usually just say, fuck it. They're just saying their spiel.
Yeah.
This one time, right? If you're listening right now, one time, go rate and review the podcast.
Just once, man. Just once.
If you're listening right now, this time, if you do it now, you can ignore it all the other times we say it. But if we can get a bunch of people to rate and review the podcast, that's what helps you grow as a podcast. It's
if you like
this algorithm that Apple has.
Jake, as people and as podcast hosts, man, do your boys a solid.
Come on, and we'll owe you forever. We love you. We do love you.
Yeah, we love all our fans.
I want to say we've been getting more emails, and it's fucking great. There's nothing better than getting emails from the people that are listening to let us know that they're actually listening and that they're enjoying what we're doing. We, believe it or not, put a lot of work into this, so it's rewarding. And also, because these people are listening and because you guys are so great, we decided to start Movie Night with Paul and Jake. We're gonna sprinkle these in here and there. I don't know if it's gonna be every off week, but we're gonna start doing these basically movie reviews, TV reviews, whatever the fuck we decide to watch,
stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's definitely we're just trying to get more content out to you guys so that more for you guys to listen to, more for you guys to enjoy. So.
The first episode is out. It came out last week. It is on the Netflix special, Abducted in Plain Sight, and it gets fucking crazy. So if you wanted to hear our views on that, I would watch it first because we do spoil basically the whole thing. Yeah, but it was fun. We had a blast. And we're going to do more. The next one we're going to do is going to be The Thing, because I've never seen The Thing. I'm a horror fan, and I've never seen The Thing, and I know that's blasphemous. I've been told. I've heard it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
repeat myself then.
I'm gonna get around to it. It's one of Jake's favorite movies, and I've never seen it, and he fucking holds it against me. So we're gonna fix that, and we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
If you have any,
in the meantime, if you have any thoughts or comments about Dyatlov's Pass and what theories you think it could be, maybe you should send us an email.
That would be awesome.
Maybe
you could send us an email.
Maybe
you can
leave a comment on our Instagram.
You could do that. You could hit us up on the Facebook fan page. We have a Facebook fan page.
We do.
It is
we are
Facebook.
on Facebook. We do have a little bit of activity we're trying to grow.
Yeah, we're trying to grow. We started the Facebook page. We kind of ignored it, but we want to get it going because that's probably the best way for us to communicate with you guys and see what you guys want. So it's facebook.com/groups/the Depthscast.
Slaps.
Or the easier thing to do is go on Facebook and search the Depths Podcast, and it'll come up. And you can join that. You can, interact with other fans, and we'll start a little community, man. It'll be awesome. You know where else we are? We're on Instagram, Jake.
We're on Instagram at the Depthscast. I am on Instagram at Jake Lotz. Paul is on Instagram at Breed Nuclear. And
it's Breed Nuclear.
Breed Nuclear.
He puts like a weird accent on it.
Nuclear.
I don't know why.
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
We're also on the Apple Podcast app. If you're on Spotify and Paul knows how to upload the episodes correctly, we're also on Spotify.
Listen, I want to apologize for that. That's on Spotify. That episode, we put an episode up, and for some reason, the site we use to adjust the levels, it output a shorter file, gave us like a 17-minute version of the podcast. It went up for maybe a couple hours. I was able to fix it. Everywhere else, Spotify will not let me fix it. So part 2 of the worst ways to die, if you want to listen to it, I mean, don't do it on Spotify, because
Podcast Addict app, is that correct?
Yeah, Podcast Addict, we are on there. You just have to check the little box
Apple.
to include Apple library
just do it through
in the
there
search.
if you just want to listen to that one episode, because I mean it's pretty good.
Yeah,
As are all episodes. But
yes.
But yeah, we're on YouTube and stuff like that. I don't.
And anywhere you can get podcasts, we're there, man.
What's that?
I said anywhere you can get podcasts.
Anywhere you can get podcasts, that's where we be at. That's where we're living at.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't have anything else. What about you?
Nope. That's it for me.
All right, man. Until next time, creep real.
Stay classy, San Diego.